Welcome, everybody, to I'm Just Saying with NJ. Tonight's panelists are Carol Gregory, an IT professional specializing in software support, but also a business owner. She has been affiliated with Jafra Cosmetics for over 30 years and has been an independent consultant for the past 20. Charles Cox, a licensed clinical social worker providing individual psychotherapy in a private practice setting. Charles believes in helping people progress through life stages one goal at a time. And Carlos Adams, a fabulous father of two. He is a child and youth mental health case manager and has been a cast member of NJ Productions since 2010. He enjoys spending time with his daughters, fishing, and playing sports. And now, our host for this evening, NJ.
Good evening, everyone. It's your host, NJ. Welcome you back to another episode of I'm Just Saying. I'd like to thank my guests for joining me today, Charles, Carlos, and Carol. We're going to move right along and we're going to get right into our discussion for tonight. Our topic tonight is if you saw your friend's mate / partner doing something inappropriate, would you tell? I'm just saying. Now, if this is your first time watching, I need you to please follow us on Instagram. Continue to watch us every Saturday at 5 o'clock on Facebook. Subscribe to my new my new YouTube channel. That's it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, I'm just saying. And so we're going to move right on. So my first question tonight is, should there be a limit on what you tell or share with a friend? I'm just saying, any one of you can answer. We're going to start with ladies first, Miss Carol. Should there be limits on what you tell your friends?
Well, it depends on your friendship. I think that you can tell certain things to certain friends, and then you can tell anything to that one or two friends that you have that you know that you can completely 100% trust versus, never knowing for sure if they're going to share certain things. So you have to be very selective on how much of your life you share with people, even if you do think that they're your friends.
Charles?
Yeah, it all depends on the level of friendships, because if you start sharing too much with your friends, and that's kind of giving them privilege or consent that they can have an opinion on your relationship, right? And sometimes the dynamics of relationships and friendships change. So now you may have had a discussion with a friend that you later on regret it because of the fact that the relationship between you and a friend has changed. So I think you should be very cautious on how much you share with a friend, but also too, you should identify who's your tribe. And once you identify this person as part of your tribe and they're going to be your friend for the long haul, then of course you could be able to discuss certain things with them. But I don't think you should discuss everything that happens in your relationship with a friend.
Carlos?
Yes, I agree with the two panelists on that in itself, because you have to weigh your friend's maturity level. You're seeing what what you're providing, telling them, are they going to be able to handle what you're saying is in one aspect, and also the ability, where their ability lies in being able to, but no, that's a little bit too deep. I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to share it with with someone else, because they can be on the other side. They can be a babble mouth, so to speak, and just spew it to other people. And your business is all out there in the community.
True. Okay, so have you ever shared something with a friend that you later on regret?
Well, now that all depends. Is the next question you gonna ask me what was it? Because if you ask me what was it, no.
I'm not gonna ask that because your friend could be listening.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you, just do you regret it though? Do you regret ever sharing something with a friend?
Oh, of course, of course. There are times where when you're trying to build relationships and you're building friendships, and I'll jump in here. You mention things, or you may have things discussion that you do later regret, and I have done it to where I have, discussed things that have happened in my relationships or in my household, and then come back and then you kind of figure out that this person is not part of your tribe. This person is not a primary relationship; they're more of a secondary relationship, and then like Carlos mentioned earlier, now your business is out all in the street. So you kind of regret having that discussion with that person and letting them know and giving them that privilege to see your personal life. And then later on down the line, it's just like, you know what? I really shouldn't have told them that. I do regret it. And I have made that error before and learned from it.
Carlos?
Yes, straight up yes. I regretted two friends, and looking out for the one of the friends, and they went back and told the other friend that in a roundabout way, and the it was messy, and I learned from that big time, and it kind of affected where me, thinking about, well, should I look out for this other person because I looked out for this person and it came back and bit me in the behind because I'm looking out for you, and you went and ran your mouth, and that person who that person came back to me and fussed and, well, I'm gonna just say, cussed me out. So it kind of, and my relationship with that other person, it kind of set things back further, and I had to apologize to that other person, but again, that first person I told, I was looking out for them, and they kind of snitched me out, so to speak. I'm like, well, daggone, but I regret it and I learned from it.
Okay. Carol?
Well, luckily, I have not. I have not had to regret saying anything because I usually don't say anything. I'm the person. I'm the person that everybody comes to because they know that I can be trusted 100%. So you would never ever have to say to me, "Hey, if I tell you this, please don't ever say anything," because they know already I'm not going to. I'm not the type of person that go to people to talk about personal stuff. That's just not who I am. So I have never had to regret ever telling anybody anything like that.
So have you ever been in a predicament that you ever taken your friend's side over your mate?
No, I don't take sides. I'm just on the side of right. So if the person is right, then that's the side I'm on. I don't feel like it's me taking sides with someone over someone else. I'm just going to voice my opinion on what I feel is right. And if you're my friend or my mate, then you should respect that I have my own opinion on things, and I'm going to stand firm on what I believe is right, no matter whose side it leans towards.
Charles?
Yeah, I have. You know, now in those situations, I think that it's about like how I talked about. So it's about having your own opinion and understanding, what is fair, what is correct, what is right in regards to those situations, and being able to do that, to be able to have that discussion and then come home and have that discussion with my partner later and my mate later and say, this is why I had that opinion and this is why, I took that stance. Now, if you talk about now on the opposite side being married, oh no, that's not gonna happen because my wife. No, I stand with my wife, and when we get home, we're gonna figure it out later. But but no, and I think it boils down to communication, right? So once you're able to set up those boundaries and have that communication and have that discussion with your mate and with your friends, those situations become far and few in between because you're setting up your boundaries and having that discussion of how we're going to interact with each other and how we're going to operate as a tribe. If we don't have those discussions, then what happens is that people feel comfortable being able to put you in a position to make a decision and take their side over another person's side.
Carlos?
Yeah, and I did that, and because I thought the situation was needed to be addressed, and like at the time we talked about it later on, and I explained to why I did that, because I look at it as like, regardless, you know, parents can be wrong, your partner, your mate can be wrong, but the particular instance of where communicate and address that. To me, I see that's just important in itself.
So Charles is saying a happy life with a happy
What?
wife.
What? Right.
Right.
He said a happy wife leads a happy life.
Right.
Right. You know,
At the end of the
you know,
day, I gotta go home.
end of the day, gotta go home.
I gotta go home.
You give your friend the signal, the wink. Yo, man, you dead wrong. You know you should
Right.
have did that. You know you gotta figure it out
And you
later.
just don't verbally say it.
You just don't verbally say it. You
You be
know.
like, yo, and then you talk about it in the car.
Yes.
That's
If I could add one thing, Nisha, if I can, I don't mean to cut you off. And
Mhm.
what Mr. Cox is saying, I add on. I learned from that situation, and like, yo, we can't talk about that to my friend. Now, we can't, we can't do that. So I learned from that previous situation
Yes. Yes.
going forward.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
And Carlos,
Absolutely.
that's a beautiful thing because that's for me being in that situation and taking it as a learning opportunity to enhance my communication and setting up healthier boundaries with my friends as well as with my wife and with my partner, is really it really was a great thing for me to take away from that, a learning experience. So I can be able to not be in those situations in the future moving forward, right? Because we do communicate and say, okay, these are the boundaries, these are the expectations, this is how we want to operate in regards to us being, friends as well as respecting the wife and the title of that each person has. But I think if I wouldn't have went through that, I don't think I would have been strong of a communicator currently as I am now.
Right.
I think we as individuals, life will teach you some things. And I think as
Hmm.
long as you're learning
Hmm.
from the experience, then the experience is all good.
Hmm.
Whether it wasn't good at the opportunity or at that present time. I think what you learn from an
Uh-huh.
experience, I don't look at it no longer as being a bad experience. I
Hmm.
think looks at it as being a learning experience. I think as long
Right.
as we learn from what we experienced, and it's all good.
Hmm.
But we are
Yeah.
our topic tonight is if you saw your friend or mate partner doing something inappropriate, would you tell? I'm just saying. Who wants to go first on that?
I'll
Okay,
go
let's talk at one time. We're gonna let you go, Carlos.
You gonna start with me
You're gonna
first. So my
start with
question
you
is
first.
tell who?
Would you tell? Would you tell if you saw your friend's mate or partner? Would you tell her or would you tell him that you seen their mate doing something inappropriate, or would you just mind your business?
I guess what Miss going back to the initial question, what Miss Carroll said, it all depends on that level of friend, and who is that friend. If I have some friends I call like my brother, and if I saw their partner, their mate doing something that's inappropriate, depending on that that particular person, oh yeah, no doubt. I'm going to say something, but if it's just some cat, hey, you say if that's my friend or that's my boy, but we're not, you, it's kind of hard to say, but but if it's my real friend, my true friend, my brother from another mother, yeah, I'm gonna say something and let him know what's up. Hey, I saw this. It's kind of surprising to me. I'm not trying to get started in trouble, but this is what I saw. I'm looking out.
Charles.
It all depends, because the thing is I see friendships as having primary and secondary relationships, primary, secondary friendships. So if it's somebody that is part of my tribe and I identify that this is a person of a primary relationship and they know I'm coming with genuine intentions
Right,
to be able to let them know that this is something that I have seen, then yes, I will have that discussion with them, right? Because if we establish that in our communication and we establish that in our boundary setting discussions with my friends and they're part of my tribe and it's a primary relationship, primary friendship, yes, I will sit down with them. Hey, bro or sis, this is what I saw. This is what I observed, and I'm coming to you with genuine intentions, right? Now, if it's a secondary relationship, I might not do that. right? Because we haven't set up that level of communication, and I don't know, and I don't know what they will perceive my intentions as being, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Because it
Yeah.
could be something that could be perceived as not really being a support, or trying to give the person a heads up. It might be perceived as something totally different. So no, I wouldn't have that discussion with that person. However, I may make myself seen, right? I may go over
Ah.
and say, um,
Uh,
"Hey, excuse me, is this the price of this item?" And they may, "Oh, I don't work here." Oh, sorry, I thought you did work here, right? And then I'm moving on, right? Because I probably will make my presence known. However, it's just that going to that person, going to that friend, because I don't know if I will have the ability to manage whatever may come out of that because of the dynamics of our relationship. So if I
mm,
cause damage by bringing that information,
very
I
good point.
am I am responsible to help that person move forward and heal from that, right? Because I brought this information. So for me, if it's a secondary relationship, I may not necessarily take those action steps. If it's a primary relationship and we've identified that in our discussion and our boundary setting that this is something that we're okay with saying, hey, bro, if you see mine out, warn me. Hey, if you see mine out, warn me, let me know. Then yes, I will have that discussion with them.
Carol.
Well, if it's an associate or an acquaintance, I would not
Hmm.
say anything at all.
Hmm.
Because, like he said, like Charles and Carlos said, it depends on the nature of your relationship. They may not be able to understand that your intent is actually pure and good, and they may take it the wrong way. So, if it's just an acquaintance or associate, I would not tell them. But if it is my friend, I absolutely will tell them. And not only would I tell them, the mate or partner, husband, or whoever it is that I got just caught in the act of doing something that they shouldn't be, I'm going to say something to that person as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not going to make a
Confronting
scene.
the mate, and then you telling a friend.
Yes,
Hmm.
I'm not going to make a scene, but I'm going to get that person's attention. If I can
Yeah.
put them off to the side, I will do that. But I'm definitely going to get their attention, and I'm going to say something.
Right.
I'm going to say, this is not cool because it puts me in an awkward position.
Position.
My friend, because I am
Hmm.
obligated to that person, I have to say something. I'm not trying to create any problems, but I don't, and in turn, I don't want any problems with my friend later on because the two of them may get into a misunderstanding, and he may say, "Well, your girl saw me out with such and such, and she didn't tell you." Now she and I has a problem. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell my friend because that's my friend, but I'm also going to say something to the mate because if that is my friend, then I have to have some form of a relationship with the mate, and I feel obligated to pull their shirt tail on something like that. Whether it's a man or a woman, I don't care what the friend is. You're
Hmm.
out of pocket. You're absolutely wrong, and I am definitely going to say something because I respect and honor the friendships that I have with my friends, and I want them to do the same thing for me.
Hmm.
I agree. I think if if I was put in a predicament, I'm telling.
Yeah.
I'm telling. I'm telling my friend because to me, I would want my friend to tell me, um, regardless if I thought I decided to stay in a relationship or walk away from the relationship, I still would want my friend to tell. I'm the person you tell me. I'm never going to tell him that you told me. I'm not.
Hmm.
I'm not because I'm never gonna leak where I get my information from. But I'm gonna make it clear on what it is, and it's gonna definitely bring. I'm gonna bring because I know the intent that it was brought in, especially if I consider you my friend.
Hmm.
That's right.
Now, if you're not my so-called friend, it is gonna be questionable about me addressing my mate on a situation when I know how you are and how you really feel concerning me and my relationship. So I think there's a uh, kind of like a thin line, and you got to know who your friends are um,
Hmm.
and what intents they have when they bring this information. Because at the end of the day, um, I've known friends that had friends that when they told them that information, it became a whole messy situation.
Hmm.
And then they was like, you know what, for that one, I'm out of my business. And da 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 da.
Hmm.
And I think that as a friend, though, and you telling a friend, you should tell a friend to tell them not with an expectation on what they should do.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Right. I'm not suggesting at any point you should stay or leave or do
Absolutely, because I think a
that
lot of
decision is
times
on that person.
when a person feels the pressure and
Mhm.
they down there warring on, my friends want me to leave him, but I love him and I want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now you got your friends like, she's stupid. I just told her that he was doing this. Why she with him?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's uh, a real tight.
It is.
I think it's a tight situation.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question would be to you is, um, if the situation ever came where you told a friend um, an information and they did get angry, how would you respond? How would you handle that friendship, being that now that individual has a problem with the information that you told them? Charles.
Mm. You knew that already. You get me. Well, I'm reading the question two ways. One is that they have a problem with me for bringing the information, right? So now they upset and angry with me. For me, it's just reflecting back just my intentions, right? Clarify my intentions and my role and saying, listen, you know what? I was put in, this situation by witnessing this and seeing this. So this is how I brought this to your attention. But for me, that would be another learning experience to where I say, you know what? Maybe I need to revisit the boundaries and this relationship that I have with this friend, right? Because if they're sitting there and they are coming back with this anger, this frustration, I understand that it could come from a multitude of places. It could come from their frustration being having to deal with this. It could come from their frustration of I'm not the first person that has told them this, and now another person is seeing some of this. So I don't know what a person's intentions are and worldview and what they're feeling, because at those moments when they're with that anger, they are, displacing it and choosing to displace it on me. And that's what I spoke earlier on about saying sometimes when we give this information, we kind of are accountable a little bit as well to be able to have that discussion, to be able to help that person process and heal. So I would definitely reflect it back saying, you know what, this is something that I have seen, and I'm be here to support you as much as I can and acknowledge their anger and acknowledge their frustration. But on my personal side, I'm reevaluating my boundaries and the dynamics of our relationship.
Carol.
Well, obviously the anger is displaced and
Hmm.
it's probably out of embarrassment. A little of it is. But I think if it's your friend, I think you already have that defining of what you guys are going to do when it comes to situations like this. So if I had a friend that got angry with me because I told them what I saw, that's fine. I still feel good about what I did, although it may have caused them some anguish or pain or whatever they may be going through. Just like Charles said, I'm going to reassure them that I'm going to be right here with them every step of the way. They can make whatever decisions they choose, whatever is best for them. It's not about what it looks like for me, because I
Right.
honestly, it's not up to me. It's up to
Hmm.
them. I don't have to live in it. I don't have to sit in it. I don't have to sleep with it. It's just I want to make sure that my friend is okay. So although I know they're angry and upset, I'm going to allow that pass because you never know what somebody is dealing with. And like Charles said, they could have encountered these things before. Other people have told them, but I'm not going to say you should leave him, you should stay with him. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let them know I am here however you need me to be. I feel good about my telling you, although it may have caused you a little bit of anguish. And now I see that you're angry. I think that that's misguided, but you need to take some time out, really rethink your position and where you're putting this anger towards, because I think it should be towards the person that did it, because if it
Right.
never happened, I wouldn't have had to tell you and then we wouldn't even be here.
Right.
So you might want to, spend some time with yourself. Sometimes doing a little deep soul searching kind of helps to relieve some of that pressure, because you may not want to deal with the what is, but the what is your mate was doing something that was inappropriate. And if that never happened, you and I would not be having this discussion anyway. But I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to support whatever you decide to do. And I'm good with that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, they said it, perfectly. Again, first thing, and me realizing, well, that's my friend. The level of the friendship, uh, my true friend. Okay, let it out. Okay, I hear what you coming. I hear what you saying, and you okay. If you want to get it out, and I'm strong enough to accept that. But given in place, say, look, I talk to you, whether it's a male or female. Calm, when you calm down, we can come back and address it. Because my thing is that if we get caught up in our feelings because they're putting that anger, expressing that anger on us, then we're going to go back and it's going to cause even a bigger rift on top of whatever is going on. So, it's going to be big of us to be able to understand it and see that. Okay, let's get it out. I hear where you're coming from. Doing that motivational, that not, but I was gonna say motivation interviewing, but that listening, that importance of listening and letting them get that anger out. Okay, you got it out. Whether it's that day, next day, whatever. Now let's talk. Like this girl, I'm your friend through thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? Now you need to at some point reevaluate where you're coming from. But I'm here for you regardless. I know it's not coming at me. I came to you with some news that you didn't want to hear or you didn't want to address. So I'm just here. I'm here for you as a friend. It's all good.
Mhm.
So, do you think it would change your relationship at all with the individual, or you think that y'all could just move on from that place?
Um, Again, depending on who that person is. Um, I don't think if they're close, nah, that's not going to change it. Mm-mm. Because you're looking at the situation, what I brought to them and how they're handling it. They're going to need my support anyway. So that by distancing our relationship, maybe it's adding on to another layer of the cake, and it can create additional problems. So no, I don't think, and I wouldn't want that to happen. You still good with me. I'm here to support you. Whatever.
Mhm.
Charles?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that 100%. And just looking at it like if it's that primary relationship, oh, we're still good. Because through conflict, through those discussions, through conflict crisis, there's growth, right? So now we're learning something about each other and we're learning something about the dynamics of our relationship. Now if it's a secondary relationship, yeah, it may damage that relationship moving forward. And when I say secondary relationship, to me, I'm thinking and I see secondary relationship as your friends because of a situation. This is somebody I work with, so we're friends at work. This is somebody I go to a social group with, so we became friends in a social group. But they're not necessarily around my house for Christmas. They don't come to my kids' parties. They don't, if I'm in crisis or if I need just somebody to talk to, they probably wouldn't be the top 5 numbers in my phone list, right? So, sometimes when you have those different types of relationships, if it's a primary relationship, no, let's have it out. Let's deal with it. And we here together in this and we're committed to this friendship and we can be able to move forward and move on. And a lot of times when I'm in session, when I talk to people about, friendships and dynamics of friendships, I like to bring in a farming perspective. Nothing, you can't grow nothing in farming if you don't damage the land. You have to be able to manipulate and damage that land to plant that seed so it can be able to grow. So if we don't have moments to where we have conflict, where we have not even conflict, I like to relate it to a coaching moment. If we don't have those moments where we have a coaching moment, then how are we really learning and really getting connected to each other where we're able to show our vulnerability? Because that anger could be vulnerability too, right? Because this person is showing their vulnerability of something that happened or something that may be going on in their relationship, and we can be able to grow and move forward from that. So I just think it depends on the dynamics of the relationship.
Carol?
Well, if it's my friend, I am not going to let an incident of inappropriate behavior affect our friendship that way. Our friendship is built on a solid foundation. That's why it's a friendship. And although we go through things as friends, just like with your husband and your mates and your partners, you go through things and you, like you said, you learn from them, you keep moving. But if they're trying to create distance, there's some underlying issues going on there. And as a friend, obviously you're the stronger in this particular instance because you're the one who gave the information and now has cause this effect, I think you have to still be there no matter what. And even if they're trying to create a little distance, in my opinion, it's my responsibility to not allow that distance to exist, because I disrupted the life that they were living at that time. And then now we're in a weird place. So, no, I'm not going to allow us to be in this weird place. I'm going to still reiterate, I am your friend. I'm your friend for a reason. We've been friends for however long we've been friends for. And I think in this particular case, it is worth us still working towards our friendship. Don't let what somebody else did have a negative impact on where we have been for however long we've been there. So you still have to stay in it. You have to be in there for the fight and for the long haul. I'm not going to let the anger create distance with my friend.
Right, right.
That's good. So this whole month on the show, we've been talking about um, different things pertaining to friendship. We talked about what was the difference between a friend and an associate. We talked about a few things pertaining to friendship, and I tried to learn something from even every episode that we bring to Facebook and that we've experienced. So the first month we talked about love. Now we're talking about friendships. And when you look at the end of the day, uh, who your friends really are. I think we talked about it last week. I said so many times we put friend on, we put the title friend, we say it, we use it so loosely. That's what I'm gonna say. We use the word friend loosely. And so we always calling this person my friend and that person my friend, but are they really um, your friends? And so
Mhm.
when it comes to telling and sharing and not telling and not sharing, um, so I guess my question would be to you after saying all of that is most people tie friendships to length. I've known this person for 20 years. I've known this person since high school. I knew this person since elementary school. My question to you, what makes an individual a friend? Is it time or what is it? I'm just saying.
Hmm. Interesting question. I'll jump in. Um, for me, in my perspective, what makes a person a friend is our connection, right? If I'm able to, and we're talking about primary friendships, right? These are my people that's been with me. We're close and we bonded. It's about connection, similarity, shared experience, but also too, it's about, for me, can I be vulnerable to this person, and can they be part of my tribe? So it's not so much about time frames, right? Now, I got some friends that I've been friends with since kindergarten, and I got some friends that I've been friends with since college, and I got some friends that I've been friends with since. So, and we're all connected, sharing the same energy, and being able to have those healthy discussions to where we can be vulnerable for one another and still be able to support one another and stay connected. So I don't necessarily think it's about time. I think it's about the connection.
Okay. Carlos?
Um, yeah, the connection. I've had a friend since I was in elementary school, and Mr. Cox says with the connection of being vulnerable. I saw him I saw him as a big brother,
Mhm.
and as time went on, I went my way, he went his way, and I still, because of that connection, that bond, being able to share things with him, and how from when we were young, and what I shared to him, um, how he worked with me, and how he treated me, should I say, how he treated me. I still have that connection with him to this day. I guess I consider him a brother. And like again, Mr. Cox saying, over the years, college,
Mhm.
whatever, I have friends, and still on some on whatever the experiences were that we went through, or he or she went through. Again, through that connection, I could say that he or she is a friend. You know what I'm saying? Um, I was comfortable enough to say some things, or vice versa. I was comfortable enough with that person to break down and cry.
Mm.
A man isn't gonna cry on any in front of anybody. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
But with them, because of who they were in my heart, and even with my family, you know, I felt vulnerable and I felt comfortable enough to, with those feelings, with those tears, it came with emotion. So the connection, um, over the years, and vice versa, makes that person a friend.
Mhm.
Carol.
I agree with both of the gentlemen. I think it's
Mhm.
all of those things wrapped up into one big ball. You have to have a connection. You have to have respect. There's some loyalty that comes into play. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects of what makes a person a friend. It can be a longevity relationship, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, because you could have met somebody a year ago and you could be closer to that person than you are with somebody that you've known for 25, 30 years. It's just
Absolutely.
about you connect on different levels. So you can be connected emotionally, you can be connected physically. There's a lot of different aspects to it. So I would not just judge a friend based on how long I've known a person, because I know some people for a very long time and I don't trust them not one second. So you have to have enough trust and respect in someone to first of all consider them a friend. And so it doesn't have to be a long relationship that would make them your friend. It's just about mutual love and respect,
Mhm.
knowing that that person is going to be there, knowing that you can be there for that person when they're vulnerable, when they're having good times. And not everything is always going to be good. There's going to be some really bad times, because that's just what life is.
Absolutely.
And you depend on that person when things are not so great, when all the roses have fallen off. Are they still going to be there, or are they only there for the show? Like, no.
Mhm.
So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long 15, 20, 30-year friendship for it to
Right.
be a friendship. It can
Mhm.
be a 6-month friendship. You could have
Mhm.
just met this person, but you just connected in a
Right.
Mhm.
realm that was just like, wow, like I'm kind of
Yeah.
taken back by all of this, but that
Mhm.
can happen. So
Yeah.
I just think that God puts us in places for a reason. He makes us connect with certain people for a reason. And then he also makes us realize that that person right there, you might want to rethink that. So it could be long, it could be short. I just think friendship is based on a lot of different things wrapped up into one big ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it comes to friendship, um, I think loyalty plays an important part in a friendship slash uh, relationship. And when it comes to those uh, being loyal, what type of friend would you say you are? If you had to describe you and the type of friend you are, what would be your definition? We're gonna start with you, Carlos.
Why? Thank you. Wow. Hmm, uh, I guess being loyal.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, you want me to let Carol go while you think about that.
I'm not saying, as far as, being loyal, loyal and supportive to that person. Um, and, against, and in the time developing that relationship, being comfortable enough to be honest with them, and also they being honest with me. So the loyalty, all that comes together, and how I, see myself as, being a friend, um, to another person. Because again, they know, like what Carlos gonna say, he gonna let me know how it is. He gonna be straight up with me. I'm not. He's not gonna pull any call. He's straight up with. He like Mike Tyson sometimes. He don't come with a body blow, but it's out of love, and out of respect, and honor, because I would want the same thing from that person.
Carol.
I agree with Carlos. I agree. I am a ride or die friend. If I say, if we have established that we are friends, then you don't ever have to question my motives, my intentions, my support, my loyalty, my respect. There's no question about it. And if you have to question those things, then we need to question whether we're really friends. I'm real. This is really serious because, like you said before, people quick to say my friend, my friend, my friend, and I'm not tossing that word around. It's not. It's not a joke to me. Like real life things happen to people, and people need to feel like they can rely on someone, and that's who I am. And I would do anything that I can to help someone who I consider to be my friend, and they don't ever have to question it, and they don't have to worry about me saying anything to anybody else about anything, that we've talked about, or if I've had to do for them, or and vice versa. So I am that ride or die type friend, sometimes to a fault, because sometimes you don't always get it back, but that's not what friendship is. You're not friends with somebody to equally give and get. Sometimes you have to give more of yourself than you're going to get, because you may have strengths that that other person may not. But that doesn't mean you're still not friends. Everybody brings something to the table in their friendships and relationships. So I'm just that ride or die type friend that they know that they can count on no matter what.
Charles.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both panelists, with Carlos and Carol. And for me to be able to describe myself or how I am as a friend, it's one word: the GOAT. I'm like the greatest friend of all time. Like there's nothing else. there's nothing better, right? But no, for me, respect, respectful, being respectful in those relationships, because I believe that the respect guides the behavior and interactions of individuals, and that reciprocal nature of the relationship with friends, like Kyle was talking about. Being, not having a transactional friendship to where, oh, I do something for you, you do something for
Right.
me, not swapping transactions, but just looking at it saying that, okay, the reciprocal nature of our relationship, we're both sharing energies, we're both sharing support, we're both sharing different things in this relationship, and we don't have the expectations of something to be given in return, right? But it's willfully giving, to be able to be there to support your friend, to be able to encourage them, to give them support when they're doing things and when they are, having conversations with you. So for me, I think respect and trying to be respectful within my friendships, trustworthy and loyal to my friendships, I think I try and honor that as much as I can, so they know that they're getting a genuine person, and they know that when they pick up the phone and say, hey Charles, I need some support, you know what, if I can't do it right then and there, listen, give me 20 minutes, and honor that 20 minutes and give them a call back and be there to support them, right? So for me, I try and make sure that I'm present as possible with my friendships, as well as being loyal, trustworthy, and just trying to honor my agreements, right? Honor my agreement to be a friend.
I think that's good. I think we, as individuals, we've taken the honor out of friendships. I think that we've taken advantage of friendships because a lot of times that was something really good that you said about you telling the person you're calling back in 20 minutes and then really honoring that 20
Mhm,
minutes. Because so
mhm,
many times we find ourselves, because we get comfortable with our friends,
mhm,
we will say, I'll call you back in 20 minutes, and then 45 minutes pass. And then
mhm,
it's, oh, it was just Charles. He knew my heart, when we
mhm.
say stuff like that. So I think that is very important when it comes to friendships. So I'm going to ask you one more question before we kind of like bring this to an end. What advice would you give someone on how to? The Bible says, in order to have friends, you must show yourself friendly. So, what advice would you give to an individual on friends, on how to be a friend, how to have friends? Because I know a lot of people now in this time, they're like, I don't got no real friends.
Mhm,
They don't have a best friend.
mhm.
So, what advice would you give to somebody on being a friend? We're going to start with you, Charles.
Know thyself. In order for you to be able to be present and be a friend, you have to know your values. You have to know what your beliefs are. You have to know yourself, so that way you can identify those similarities and connecting with people and being friends with them. right? So if I know my core values, or my top five core values is respect and responsibility, it would be difficult for me to be a friend with somebody that's not honoring that, that doesn't have that same core value. So knowing yourself is extremely valuable with establishing friendships, as well as setting up your personal boundaries and your friendship boundaries, and defining what a friend means for you so you can be able to communicate it. Oftentimes people want to discharge labels and say, oh, this is a friend. But with that label comes tasks and standards, comes expectations. That person you're identifying as your friend, either A, they may not know what your tasks and standards are. They hear the word friend and they automatically go, and this is what my friends and how I've operated in the past with my friends. However, with you in your communication and knowing thyself, you can be able to communicate, hey, Carlos, Carol, I want to be your friend. This is what a friend means to me. These are my values and what I value in a friend. And this is what I'm bringing to the table. And you will have healthier relationships and friendships to where you can connect on a spiritual and an energy level, and be able to be vulnerable in that person and have long lasting friendships.
Carol.
The advice that I would give to someone seeking friendship is, first, you have to be friendly.
Mhm.
That's
Friendly.
important.
Yes, friendly. Life is not about you. You have to be willing to sometimes consider that someone else may need something over your own personal needs. That's friendship. Because, laughing and joking and funning and all that, that's fine. That's not friendship. You have to be respectful. You have to be honorable. You have to be trustworthy. And those are the things that a lot of people are lacking today. Because all they know is what they want. I need, I want, my needs, my wants. You can't be that way. That's not what friendship is. You have to give and you have to take, but you can't, it's not always just about you. And you can't be friends with someone if they're not willing to sometimes take a back seat to their own personal desires and maybe put you first if that's what's needed at that time. So there's a lot more involved with friendship, but you have to be friendly and you have to be respectful. And then you have to honor people, honor the fact that we are all human, we all have feelings. Our feelings can be hurt, they can be damaged by things that people say and do, and you have to be cognizant of that. And a lot of times people aren't cognizant of those things. All they know is just me, 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 me. And it's not about that. Sometimes you have to give, and it may make you feel a certain way, but that's what friendship is. And you may get it back, you may not get it back. So if you're in it just to get or try to equal what you're giving, you're not a real friend. And that's not what friendship is, because it's not about that. It's never going to be equal in anything we do. You work with people, that work relationship isn't equal. Even when you're a husband and a wife team, it's not always going to be equal. And it's not supposed to be. You're taking two individual people and you're meshing them together, whether it's a marriage or a friendship. It's the same thing. So you're going to have those days where you be like, not today, but sometimes it has to be today, even when you don't want it to be. And then, like Charles said, you have to respect a person's space. But sometimes if you're not in a good space and someone really needs you, you may have to say, listen, just right now, it's just not a good time for me. And I'm still gonna be here for you, but I just need that time to regroup, get my own bearings together first, and then I can be a much better friend for you at that time. And so I think it is about that mutual respect.
So I'm gonna ask you, Carlos, but I'm getting ready to. After I ask Carlos, I want to take some questions from Facebook. So if you have any questions, I need you to write them in now. If you have any questions you want any of our panelists to answer, you can write them in now. Carlos, you can go ahead and answer.
Um, I mean, yeah, with Miss Gregory and Mr. Cox was saying, I mean, I agree with that, and understanding that, with friendship, again, I guess I'm kind of going with Miss Gregory was saying, it's a two-way street, and it's not always going to be um, that, it's all about you. It's going to be at times it's all about them and where you stand at, and being able to communicate, where things are, being able to um, or have a, develop a line of communication with that. And I guess also in the communicating with them, there's going to be, with experience over time, because you would say my friend from day one, but then, 2 weeks later, there may be a situation where that your friend may not be able to be there to support you. It's like, well, they won't there for me, so I'm gonna cut them off. But again, that situation may not have been comfortable for that person. So, it takes the way I look at it, over time, it becomes a friend. Again, a very important thing, as Gregor said, when everything is goody, 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 everybody's on ship. When stuff start happening, you start seeing people jump ship. And, well, dad, I didn't expect that person to be there, but they there. Okay, okay, I can see them being a friend, because in the bad times they were there. In the good times, everybody was on board, but they're not there. So I learned through experiencing through time that, hey, I know who I can call on, who's going to be my ride or die, as Miss Gregory said it before. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
And
Sure. Go ahead, Charles.
and that's right. Carlos has triggered something in me in my thought process too. Is if you a piece of advice, if you take away the transactional part of that friendship, are you still
Yeah.
connected?
Mm,
And I
yes.
think and I think if people ask themselves that question about some of their friendships,
Mm,
if I'm not giving a person a ride to work every day, if I'm not coming in and bearing gifts, if I'm not always picking up the phone when a person may need money or need support, and 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 look at that and say, if I remove the transactions from our relationship, do we still have a friendship that I defined as a friendship with this particular person? And if that answer is no, then that may not be a primary friendship
That's right.
for you. That may be a secondary friendship. And it's okay. It's okay if you still want to be able to engage with the person and stay connected with the person. We're not saying, I don't think any of these panelists are saying that, you have to disconnect from people or cut people off. I don't want people to get that
right.
impression.
Right.
It's just saying that sometimes you may have to move them from off that top shelf. Maybe they go on the next shelf, and then somebody and make room for someone else to be on
Right.
that top shelf that you're more connected with, because those transactions, like Carlos was talking about, those transactions doing and being there, and Kyle was talking about them too, those transactions doing and being there, if you remove that from the friendship, would it still survive? Will it still grow? Will it still thrive?
Okay. Well, that's our time. And so I didn't see any questions that weren't already answered already throughout the show. So I like to thank my panelists for joining me on tonight. I really enjoyed y'all. So before we go, I want y'all to take the opportunity to introduce yourselves, tell people where they can find you on social media, and if you have anything you got going on. So we're going to start with you, Carol. You first.
Okay, I'm Carol, and I can be found. I'm on Facebook at Carol Williams. I haven't changed my last name, but Carol Williams on Facebook. I am an independent consultant with Jafra, and you can go to my website at www.jafra.com/C Gregory, and you can reach me through email at carolsjafra@gmail.com. Oh,
And
and
Miss
let me just
Carol,
say
what do
that
you sell?
I sell beauty and cosmetics, spa products. I sell men's skincare. It's a whole
Mhm.
gamut of everything. So by all means, check me out. But I also want to say that I've enjoyed being a part of the show. I enjoyed sharing this space with Charles and Carlos both.
Thank you.
Carlos?
Carlos Adams. Um, I got to tell my daughters I'm not that popular. I don't have a whole lot of Instagrams and Twitter and all that stuff. I'm just on Facebook as Carlos Adams. Like I said before in the intro, um, part of NJ Productions, TRS Productions. I've been, several plays over the, different productions over the years. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I love working with kids. Been a case manager working in mental health with youth for several, when I'm saying many, I ain't gonna say several, many years. And again, I enjoyed the panel today. Thank you, Nisha, for inviting me to
Yeah.
participate in this, and I really enjoyed it. And while talking, it also made listening made me think too. So it was time well spent. And thank you again.
Beautiful,
Charles?
beautiful. first and foremost, I want to thank you for inviting me on this platform to be able to speak and be able to, share my points of view and just, my thoughts. It really was a great experience, and I enjoyed sharing a panel with Carlos and Carol as well. It gave me a lot of things to think about, right? Different perspectives, and being able to share and talk with you, everyone here, really gave me things to be able to kind of, reevaluating process, right? Because we have the ability to critically think. So hopefully, I'm gonna take my opportunity and I'm gonna use it. you know.
Right, right.
Um,
Yeah.
but I
Hey, Charles, I want to say, I got to use that farming example. That was
yeah,
beautiful. I'm gonna have to use that right there. That was like, oh, that's deep right
yeah,
there. I
that's
like
right.
that. You
That's
got
right.
to break up the
Yeah,
ground
you gotta
sometime.
break up the ground sometime before you can
You
plant
know,
something. You gotta
yeah,
break it. You gotta break it
yeah.
up. Well,
I'm from the country, so yeah, I know.
right.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yes,
You're like,
indeed.
dig where again? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yep,
yeah,
yep, yep. And then once you grow something, you gotta smooth it out all over again, make
exactly,
it look nice,
exactly.
put some fertilizer, and then gotta break it again.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
That was
uh,
smooth.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm Charles Cox. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I provide individual counseling and therapy. I'm based out of New York, Long Island, Baldwin region. Right now, I am at capacity with sessions, but I do have a podcast called Let's Think About It. That's going to be a weekly podcast that is going to be posted out to where I'm going to, talk more about some of the concepts about health, mental health, and overall wellness. Also have a Instagram account. It's my name, Charles Cox LCSW, so people can always tag me there. And I have just a Facebook page, Charles Cox LCSW, as well, which people can be able to like the page, and I share posts and those kind of things. Getting more back into social media. Um, Now because I didn't grow up in the social media era. So, you know, I'm really inconsistent with social media. But those are the avenues that I have up to where people can be able to reach out to me and contact me and, if they have a question or a discussion or topic they want to be able to discuss, they can reach out to me on those platforms.
Well, again, I appreciate my panelists for joining me tonight. Um, like us on Facebook. Continue to follow NJ Productions on Instagram. Subscribe to my new uh, YouTube channel. And last but not least, please tell a friend and share. I will see you next week, the same time. Um, Next Saturday, actually, this ends our month of friendships. So next month, the month of August, we're going to be dealing with marriages and relationships. So join me next week, 5 o'clock, same time, NJ Productions Inc. on Facebook. It's your host, NJ. Tune in next week. I'm just saying. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.